very frustrating trying to put together a case when you don't have a lot of clues at the time.
But clues are what cop keeps seeing.
Riverboat, the river, a wall, a rat. And then I saw an old woman's hand, and she wrote the words, River Rat.
Now she wants to see more. Chief Landry invites cop to Louisiana.
I really felt that maybe she could help me.
He brings the psychic to the Philippi crime scene.
Just want you to tell me what you're feeling right now and what you see.
And he picks up a chair, a metallic chair. And the chair is scalloped or, metalwork. There's designs in the chair. And then he steps up on something.
What Rose said about a metal chair was exactly right. It was a wrought iron chair that was removed from the front porch. He did stand on the chair. It was utilized in the access to the residence.
So when I arrived at the scene, I arrived about here. And that's where I saw the perpetrator. I turned around, looked over my left shoulder, and that's where I saw the four-door sedan. This is where the vehicle dropped him off. Driving the vehicle, I see a blonde woman, chubby blonde, shoulder-length, wavy blonde hair, fair complexion. I looked in the car and I saw many pieces of paper with numbers on it. I asked myself, what is that? What are those papers related to? At that moment, I determined his motive was money because he had gambling debt, and the receipts surrounding him in the car were like betting slips or things related to gambling.
This gets the chief thinking.
They were able to establish an angle where gambling might have been a factor.
Detectives canvass area casinos, but don't turn up any leads.
And we were doing our best trying to do everything we could to prevent him from killing again.
But without success.
4 o'clock in the morning, I received a phone call of an elderly couple that had been attacked.
They were attacked while they were sleeping in their bed.
The weapon of opportunity was actually a landscaping stone that was taken from a flower garden area of the residence.
A shotgun was taken from the utility room that was ultimately used. There were 4 things that were really similar in nature. No fingerprints, telephone lines were cut, weapons of opportunity, and money taken. Both victims were shot and left for dead.
But this time, one thing is different. The victims survived.
At the hospital, the female victim was asked if she could describe her attacker.
She helps create a composite sketch.
It was of a white male, slender build, approximately 5'7", 5'8", thin.
Rose described the attacker as a thin white male, probably 5'8", 5'9", 170 pounds.
Detectives have finally drawn a bead on the Gonzalez serial killer. But can they stop him before he strikes again? Three months after Lillian Phillippi's murder, police have a description of the suspect.
So we had a little bit more information to go on.
But they need more. They ask the FBI for help.
They did a profile and give the personality and the makeup of who could possibly be a suspect.
We learned that this person was possibly from a lower income, a lower educational scale.
A profile of a white male, late 30s, early 40s.
After he committed these crimes, would probably go on a spending spree, either buying things or actually just spending money in general.
They also speculate that the killer had a female accomplice.
He was probably being assisted by a girlfriend or some type.
Here it is, the FBI's profile and a psychic's information were very similar. He may have been a laborer of sorts. The fact that it may have been a female accomplice were very similar, almost shocking, and then bits and pieces really started fitting in further as the investigation continued.
While the sketch and profile are publicized, Chief Landry and the psychic continue searching for clues.
She came this way. I looked in the car and I saw someone in the driver's seat, an accomplice, and that person was female. And I see her in a diner. I see her carrying plates, serving food, and I see her pouring coffee out of a coffee pot. When I got the impression that she was a waitress, I tried to see if I could tell what her name was. Letter I, name tag, Candy or Cindy.
She was certain about the female's name ending in I, and she thought it was Brandy or Cindy.
Cop tries to locate the woman.
To determine the location of the restaurant, I looked out the restaurant window,
Another animal plagues Cop's visions.
and I saw a billboard with a cow on it.
Meantime, police get a tip.
Investigation, Sergeant Tony. About an individual who he thought fit this profile as well as fit the possible composite that was released.
The caller says he's seen this man at a local casino, a gambler, just like the psychic said.
We used to come in and spend small amounts of money, and after these murders had happened,
He changed his spending habits. He started wearing nicer clothes, jewelry. So we had an individual that fit the profile real well.
Tips continue to roll in.
We kept hearing the same name over and over again, whose lifestyle had changed.
And that name would be Daniel Blank.
Blank fits the psychic's description to a T. A white male with a slight build, around 5'8", and he's a laborer.
We commonly referred to him as a shade tree mechanic, only because he didn't have a business, a building, but he did a lot of mechanic work at his residence.
When we went down to the residence, we learned that Daniel had just recently moved to Texas. So this is another key point in our behavioral profile. Here we had a guy that was spending money that used not to spend money. He relocated shortly thereafter the attack on the elderly couple.
One of the things that the task force learned was that Daniel Blank's girlfriend's name was Cindy. That was one of the names that Rose had called immediately.
We learned that she did actually work at one time for a little restaurant here in Gonzales.
Right across the highway from a restaurant was a sign that used to stand that had a cow on top of it. You had to be a resident of the city to know that that meat processing place even existed. Everything that Rose had told me was starting to take some shape.
So we, at this point in time, the task force focused in on Daniel Blank and focused in on him hard. He was spending money at the casinos and winning a lot of money